I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Chien. Last week, in our Gimme Ghoul episode, we talked about the many treasures and artifacts of foreign lands, which were plundered by sailors and pirates of the European colonial powers. Spain, the inspiration for the region of Paldea in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, was particularly relevant in Southeast Asia, conquering the Philippines and attempting Catholic missionizing in Japan. Spain had ambitions to take China, and though they never did, much was traded with the ancient empire, often unfairly or at gunpoint. In particular, during what Chinese media calls the Century of Humiliation, between the Opium War with Britain and the invasion by the Japanese, as many as 10 million artifacts were taken from the country, ending up on display in museums in countries like Britain, France, and, yes, Spain. These artifacts, and the curses they may hold, inspired the 4 Pokemon known as the Treasures of Ruin. Chien is the first of the Treasures of Ruin. It is sealed behind a gate in the Grass-Wither Shrine, in the south province of Paldea. A grass and dark-type Pokemon, Chien resembles an oversized snail. Pokemon Violet tells us, "It drains the life force from vegetation, causing nearby forests to instantly wither, and fields to turn barren." The conical shell is reminiscent of ancient predators from the orthocone group of nautilus mollusks. It also resembles the decolate snail, a predatory species which ironically is sometimes deliberately introduced to kill other snails and prevent fields and forests from being eaten. Closer inspection will reveal that most of the body is simply a collection of leaves and shrubs, possessed and animated by the actual entity, a scroll of wooden slips, an ancient form of Chinese writing. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "The grudge of a person punished for writing the king's evil deeds upon wooden tablets has clad itself in dead leaves to become a Pokemon." Chien, like the other 4 Treasures of Ruin, is loosely based on one of the 4 perils from Chinese mythology. We'll talk more about them in the upcoming weeks, but Chien at least is based on the Tao Wu. While this monster has taken many forms over the years, its lasting incarnation is a kind of spirit of vengeance, writing down the misdeeds it holds a grudge against on bamboo slips. The specific character mentioned by the Pokédex may be a reference to the very real historical pair of brothers who ensured the accurate recording of a kingly assassination and usurpation at the cost of their own lives in the Kingdom of Chien in 500 BC. This determination is reflected in Chien, a Pokemon with high special defense and an ability to lower physical attack, clearly intended to be a bulky wall. Because it can weaken both of its opponents, it does sometimes fare well in competitive multiplayer battles. But alas, its low HP, and the fact that Dark and Grass is a type combination with many weaknesses, mean it doesn't quite dominate the game like some of its stablemates. The name, Chien, is basically a slight mispronunciation of the Chinese words for snail and bamboo slip. The Japanese name, Chien, replaces the word for snail with the more generic word for bug. China is a country with a long and beautiful history, which, through the Roman Empire and later the European imperial powers, has had a turbulent relationship with Spain and the West. I would love to visit the Great Wall and the Forbidden City, and would adore a chance to do so in a future Pokemon region. Alas, the People's Republic of China as it is today has many problems, which put a stop on either of those dreams. If the closest I'll get for now is to see hints of Chinese culture in other lands, I'll take it. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Writing, producing, and editing is by me, Luke Summerhays, while funding is provided by lovely listeners at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. Next up are Chien Pao, and Ting Lo. So if you have thoughts about those or any other monsters, hit me up with a DM or an email to lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. If you like this podcast, please rate and review wherever you're listening, or tell a friend. If you want to hear more Pokemon chatter from me, come by twitch.tv/lukelovespkmn, most Saturday nights from 9 PM UK time. Even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Chien, and remember, I love you too.